Welcome back on the AM show. Some interesting perspectives we've shared with you this morning on the show. But now we talk about that common manifesto. We've spoken to you about it. We're going to reiterate today. Now, JoyNews is collaborating with an amalgam of professional bodies to present a public speaking event on the topic, a common manifesto for our common future. Now, joining the discussion, of course, today, later in the evening at the British Council, we're going to have panelists including Michael Koto and Akosua Bame, and the main speaker, David Ofosu-Dorte. He is going to actually be there for this event, and that is on the 28th, actually. That is next week. We'll be hearing from Dr. Kwame Sapong-Asiedu on that discussion slated for sometime next week. Doc, it's been a while. Good to have you join the conversation this morning.
Yes, it has, and good morning, and thanks for having me.
Now, I know that you're one of those outspoken members of the public. I follow your Facebook feed and all that. You are very passionate about Ghana. How did you feel putting this together? JoyNews collaborating with this conglomerate, if you like, or amalgam of private entities to come through with this public lecture. What are your immediate sentiments that you'd like to share with us?
Okay, thanks. My immediate sentiment is that we've been running this democracy for over 3 decades. The verdict is out there if the democracy is yielding a dividend for Ghanaians. And in recent times, people have been asking the question, why are the middle classes not speaking up based on the dividends that we are seeing in our democracy? So for me, coming together with people who are also passionate about Ghana, but independent thinkers, not people who groupthink, have their own views, disagree, but with the intention that ultimately there should be one agenda that is charted by Ghana in order to achieve transformational development is something I can closely associate to. And that is why I'm passionate about it.
Now, what went into selecting the likes of David Ofosu-Dorte, of course, Michael Koto, someone I'm familiar with, Akosua Bame as well as panelists, and then the main speaker? What went into that, and what can we expect as they talk about that common manifesto for our common future?
Well, to say what went into that, I would say if you look at all 4 individuals, they are distinguished in their chosen professions. I mean, there are some that no one can lift a candle to. And then when you look at their social interactions, there are people who also believe that we cannot continue down this line of NDC, NPP, our politics, and every single thing changing with our electoral cycle. They also have very strong views. And so if you look at someone, you said you follow my feed, if you follow someone like David's feed, you also see that he has very, very strong and passionate views. He's well-traveled. He is a thought leader per excellence. You can say the same thing about the other two, Akosua and Michael. They are people of substance. And for me, that is what matters, that you have people who are independent-minded and are willing to get into the arena and have conversations around what we should have as a commonality when it comes to Ghana.
As a country, we are at a crossroads when it comes to not just the economic life, education, everything in between. This is not going to be the first and the last. It's going to be a series of lectures. We've already heard from the likes of Mr. Yaw Nsako in the past. But what then does this mean for shaping our governance and other structures in Ghana? Because there's also, the reason I ask this question, there's also that sentiment out there that you can say what you will, but often those who are in charge of governance will not necessarily go by anything you say. How are we hoping this will actually shape our country for the better?
Thanks. You see, these conversations are supposed to put spotlight on specific sectors of our society. So when Yao spoke, he spoke about a specific sector. When I spoke about health. And so, in answering your question, I would try to put a health spin on it and say, is it actually right that every 4 to 8 years, the leadership of all our health systems change from the Ghana Health Service, from Kolebu, from Temple Teaching Hospital, it changes. And in changing these health leaders, we always change them looking inward to one political party, i.e. the political party in power. So we are not using meritocracy, but are using political loyalty to identify who our health leaders are. Is it right that when we've identified these health leaders, all these coming from a minority of our intellectual population, less than 35%, because the two political parties have 40 to 44% each in their camp. When we go to identify these people, we are looking inward into those who are loyal to the person who's won executive power. Is that right? Is it right that these people are then not given a tenure such that the president can wake up one morning and say, I find the chief executive of Kolebu or Confanachi or the Ghana Health Service, and nobody can do anything about it? What does it augur for planning for our health system? Is it right, therefore, that you go into a hospital and you cannot use your national health insurance card to get all the benefits that a card gives you, and the chief executive of the national health insurance scheme is appointed by the executive with no tenure? When you go in there, the question you ask yourself is, are you identified as an MPP or NDC when you need the health system most? These are the things we want to bring into the public domain for us to have a conversation. Is it healthy? Is it giving us the outcomes we require? And yes, other people would come in, speak about the educational sector, other people speak about the legal sector. So we want to put a spotlight on what we are doing and how we are practicing our democracy from different perspectives and see what model would best fit us. So if you look at David's conversations going to have, he's talking about a common manifesto that irrespective of being apolitical, irrespective of being MPP, NDC, EPP, PPP, we need to have a national agenda. We need to have something that we all aspire for as Ghanaians. We need to be Ghanaian first and political party second. If you look at even the framers of our constitution, they had that in the National Development Planning Commission. But our political party players have managed to jettison anything that the NDPC does. And every time they are coming with their own manifesto. So if you come back to health, is it correct that now we are running a health system based on the NPP manifesto? We see hospitals that were started by the NDC under John Mahama that are not completed, and suddenly we are starting Agenda 111. And then, should governments change, are they going to go back to complete the projects they came? What does that mean for us? What does that even mean for our economy? What does that mean for our debt to GDP ratio? Because we do not have the money, we borrow to fund these things. And that is the sort of conversation we want to drive.
And it's pretty interesting. Just this morning, I was going to indicate that even before he came through with free SHS and the rest, I've heard the former president, though, reiterate, I'm talking about John Dramani Mahama, interestingly, that, listen, free SHS has come to stay in one of his most recent speeches, but that is how it's being executed. That will be tweaked. But today, I got a message from someone on the back of his talk about the licensure exams and scrapping them and changing the modalities, so to speak. Someone sent in a message and said, enough of you, the MPP and NDC, tweaking, twisting, tossing about, turning our educational system. Both of you come together, form some sort of committee and ensure that we can have a common agenda when it comes to education, rather than you come it's 4 years, you come it's 3 years, you come and do this gold track, green track, and all of that is not stabilizing our educational system. But I guess those are some of the very things we're looking at. So, a common manifesto for our common future on the 28th day of November. That's Tuesday next week, 2023. The time is 6:30 p.m. at the British Council. Admission is free. It's a hybrid event. You can also join virtually. In fact, some of those who are going to, the prominent members are going to be joining virtually as well. Any final words, Dr. Sapon Asiedu, on what we can expect and what you yourself would be expecting come D-Day?
Well, I'm expecting people with very divergent views, very strong views as well, but a stimulating conversation that would ensure that we identify the pain points in this 8-year cycle of a journey to nowhere. I mean, it is not delivering. I don't want to put words into the mouth of David, but we all know it's not delivering. We all know that it's not working for us. And we want a lot more people to join the conversation. The aim is to get a lot more people to speak out. We might not have all the answers. Yes, and no one has all the answers. But in the end, the more we speak, the more we discuss, the better the ideas. And we should move into the sector where we are prepared to have these conversations without fear or favor, irrespective of our political leaning. And that is what I'm expecting from the day.
Doc, we're also expectant. We're waiting with bated breath, and we hope that all of this will help shape the course of our country and its fortunes moving forward. Dr. Kwame Sapong-Asiedu joining the conversation this morning. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And of course, it's all about that public lecture. Don't you forget, make a log on your calendar. JoyNews, together with an amalgam of professional bodies, organizing this public speaking event on the 28th day of November. It's at the British Council, time 6:30 p.m. The main speaker is David Ofosu Dorte, and there's also Akosua Bame and Michael Koto joining the conversation. Now, where are you thinking about going? Have you thought about just relaxing this Christmas season? Well, I'll tell you what, you can escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel this Christmas. You've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. Take a break from work this Christmas and take a break from the South. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is Japa, Dubai, is the place to relax, rewind, and re-energize this Christmas. It's away from the stress of the South, and here's what awaits you. An unforgettable safari experience. They have an amazing array of wildlife, including lions. There's the hippopotamus, zebra, ostrich, all of these on display for you to enjoy the beauty of nature. They have water sports such as jet skiing, boat or canoe rides, among others. And there are games for the entire family to keep you and your family excited all through the day. And if you're looking for those touristic attractions as well in the Upper West region, talking about the Mushroom Rock, the Slave Caves, etc., they have those as well. So escape from the South, escape to the North, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, that is Japa, Dubai, for an unforgettable safari experience this Christmas and beyond. The numbers to call 0501 694 280 or 0248 844 463 for reservations or further inquiries. Do stay with us. Our next conversation is up next on the AM Show.